Welcome to Tech That.
Tech That!
Will's back.
I'm back.
It's okay, guys.
Finally. It's been forever.
I was saving people.
So what are we talking about, guys?
Today, we will be discussing whether you should buy AMD or Nvidia.
Boxes.
The epic rivalry.
Yes.
Which one should we talk about first? Nvidia?
Okay. Should you buy right now AMD or Nvidia? Because, as most of y'all should know, if you are living right now,
That's so bad if you don't, because I didn't.
Nvidia has come out with the 900 series, which is their step up from their 700 series, which they released like 2 years ago, or 3 years ago. And AMD,
Definitely not 3, but something like that.
And AMD is saying that they're going to launch in Q2 and Q3, which is like this summer / fall, their new line of 300 series. So instead of having like an R9 270X, you'll have like an R9 370X. It doesn't roll like off the tongue that easy.
Well, if I was going to decide, it really depends like how much money you want to spend. Like AMD, their motto is practically, it's hot, but it's also cheap. I mean, let's be honest. The old cards, they're really hot. They go really hot, and they're hard to cool, but they're so cheap. Will here got 290, which is practically like barely behind like the
960.
960. That's a little bit over the 960 actually. It's like
Yeah.
falls behind the 970.
The 290 and the 290X fit right in between the Nvidia 970 and the 960. So there's your two AMD cards right there.
But he got his for around like $250, which is
Really good deal.
really good.
I love it. Works for what I need to do.
4 gigs of RAM.
Yeah, 4 gigs of GDDR5, so that's nice. That's a thing. It looks pretty cool too.
It does.
It's
But-
HIS, I think, is the people who manufactured it, but I like it.
If you're going to go for Nvidia, then you really want the highest performance, because the Titan is definitely the highest performance, but it's also going to cost you a lot of money.
$1,000.
You could buy country.
Oh my god.
Small country. Conservative country. There are advantages of AMD over Nvidia besides just heat, though, and price. For example, AMD will run a higher bit memory bus than Nvidia on standard. Generally, Nvidia sticks to the 256-bit memory bus, which can slow down their speed a little bit. This new this R9 390X and 390 will have a 4096 bit memory bus. That's just ridiculously much more faster, because a bit is basically like a channel for information to get to the memory modules. And if you have 256 bits memory bus, that means you can fit 256 bits through the same bus at one time. Whereas AMD's new card is going to be able to fit 4096, so, which is ridiculous. But do you really want to wait and spend a whole lot more on AMD's 390 series? Because it's going to be extremely expensive. It's going to be like the Nvidia's 980 series price range right now, but it'll probably
600s.
before. Yeah.
And apparently, all the other 300 series, other than the 390 and the 390X, are just going to be like the older models, like the 200 series, but like vamped up, like a little bit better. So, if I was going to buy something, or if I was going to wait to buy something in 300, it'd have to be the 390X or nothing, or just buy something now.
Another advantage of waiting for Nvidia consumers is that if you wait until AMD releases their new cards and you can actually buy their new cards, you're going to see Nvidia's prices drop a lot, because they're not going to be as powerful probably as, at least their 970s and 980s, are not going to be as powerful as the 390 and 390X, so they're going to drop their prices to stay competitive. So if you're willing to wait like 4 or 5 more months at the time of this video in order to get a card, I mean, that's your choice, but you might also get a really good deal out of it. Also, AMD is dropping their prices like a rock.
Yeah.
It really just comes down to what you're really looking for and what you need immediately. So if you need something now, go ahead and buy something, but I wouldn't get anything too expensive because the better stuff is coming out soon. So like Landon was saying, if you really want a 390 or 390X, that's probably worth the wait. But if you're just planning on getting like a lower 300 series, it's probably not that much worth it because it's just going to be an amped up version of what we already have now.
But advantages of getting new graphics cards will have technology improvements like maybe a smaller die, which results in cooler temperatures, or maybe even better cooling technology, or in the case of AMD, like Mantle API and DirectX 12 will be coming out. Mantle API is already out for the current R9 cards, but it's just not as good. So if you're willing to wait, they're probably going to add more games. The thing about Mantle is it doesn't have many
No games.
None.
Barely any.
It's like, if you log into Star Citizen, not Star Citizen, I'm gonna redo this. You log into Civ 5, by Sid Meier, great game. You have the option generally to choose between DirectX 10 or DirectX 11. Well, Mantle is like DirectX 10 or DirectX 11. It's just like a way for video to be encoded, but it's better and uses your processor more, so that way it's not as hard on your graphics card and you can push like almost 20 higher frames. Tech Syndicate did a video over that, and there was quite a big difference. You might be surprised on a Mantle game as opposed to a non-Mantle game. So,
but if they release anything, they should also be released for the 200 series.
Yeah. So, basically Mantle API, big games right now. Star Citizen's coming out, it'll have Mantle. Thief has Mantle.
But of course DirectX 12 might be even better, but we don't know yet.
DirectX 12 is going to be much more universal. So, I would recommend wait and just see. I guarantee you can put off with 48 instead of 60 frames per second for just a couple more months.
You can do it.
You can do it. Hang in there.
And to those of you who are like just now building, which is the chair I was sitting in just a few months ago, and you're like, oh, what's 20 frames? I gotta tell you, it's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
What you could do is get an R9 270X or an extremely low range card, becoming low range card, and get that and kind of wait it out and play some kind of low range games until you are more confident in what you can buy. But don't buy something that's going to drop in price. Like if you know you're going to upgrade, don't get like an R9 290 and then because if your resale value is going to be terrible in a couple months. Like it's already dropping, but it's going to really drop.
But plus, or another way to go is if you just got like a 270X now, and then you got like another 270X in Crossfire them, because in DirectX 12 they're putting new technology in that lets you use all of your VRAM instead of having to copy it on each card. So instead of having just 2, you'd have 2 plus 2, so it would be 4 gigs, which is a nice way to go. And the way they're doing that is instead of like having both cards focus on one frame, and so that they both have to use their memory towards that frame, one works on one frame and the other works on the odd frames. So it's like even frames and then odd frames for each card, so that they're working on different frames and they can use their memory. So that'd be another way to go.
Yeah, so it just kind of depends. I mean, you got Nvidia over here that's like really, I guess, more efficient,
Yes.
cooler, more name brand, and so like you're gonna have a much more premium device. But you've also got AMD, and they're really putting out some really good stuff. For a while that was not true, but they're really getting back in the game and pushing out some really cool stuff. So
With the price, that's really nice too.
yeah, price.
Yeah.
So it's obviously your choice, and it's not like you're gonna see a gigantic difference, but you actually kind of are. So Yeah.
Just depends on your budget and what you need now. So.
But I think that's it, right?
That is it.
Like and subscribe.
Right here.
Like and subscribe.
Or wherever we decide to put the little boxy thing.
Put it in my mouth.
You might do that.
And, tech that, logging off.
Take that.
Adios.
We out.